less than 6.2, estimating products. Now for this strategy, there are two ways to do it. The first way is to round each number to the greatest place that has a non-zero digit. That might be confusing, but let's look at it. I think you'll get it. So if I have 184 times 0.75, or 75 hundredths, I look for this one. The largest non-zero number is this one, so I'm going to round to the nearest hundred, which would be 200, because 8 is greater than 5, so it's going to bump the 1 up to a 2, and I get 200. With this one, 0 is the greatest digit, but it says 0. I'm looking for the largest non-zero number, so that's going to be the 7. I look to the next digit. Since it's 5 through 9, it's going to bump this one up, so this becomes 0.8 or 8 tenths. Now here's how we do our multiplication. We pretend like the decimal's not even there. We have 8 times 200, and we get 1,600, because 8 times 0 is 0, 8 times 0 is 0, 8 times 2 is 16. Then we look at all of the digits that are after the decimal point. There's nothing in here, and there's just 1 for this one. So because there's 1 decimal place in the factor, there's going to be 1 decimal place in our answer. So I move my decimal point right there, and I get an answer of 160. If I were to check my work and say that 8 is about 1, 200 times 1 is going to be 200, and I know that that was an overestimate, so I know it's going to be less. So that's probably a pretty fair answer. Let's look at the other way. Using compatible numbers that you can multiply easily. If I have 2 and 15 hundredths times 16, can't really multiply 2.15 or 2 and 15 hundredths. I'm going to change that to 2. And 16, I can do that, but I think it's even easier to do it as 15. So I just multiply 15 times 2, and I get 30. Now this seems like a much easier way to do it. However, we've been struggling with compatible numbers, but also you're probably not going to get as accurate because you might start rounding it a little bit more. So let's look at some of the practice. If I have 4.3 times 21, so I'm going to look at this, and here's the largest digit, so 4.3 is going to round to 4. 21, I'm going to round that to 20. 4 times 20 equals 80. 0.14 times 9, here's the largest digit, so I'm going to round to that, and since 4 is less, it's going to stay at a 1, so 0.1 or 1/10 times 9. When I do that, I get rid of the decimal point. 1 times 9 is 9. And since there's 1 digit in after the decimal places in the factors, there needs to be 1 digit after the decimal in the product. Right? So I add my 0, because you can't have just 0.9. You have to have 0.9. And that's my answer. This went really quick, and I think it might be a little confusing. But once you get practice doing it, I promise it'll get easier. If you were struggling, please make sure you join a small group. See you tomorrow.